Today we're looking at an awesome attachment that will work on any car. That's a forward and reverse recording dash camera, plus a backup camera if your car doesn't have one. Slips over the rear view mirror. Let's check it out and quickly install it. First, start out by saying this is not paid. I actually bought one for myself, and this is actually a second one that I bought for a family member that I'm going to install for him today. This is pretty much all it is. It slides right over your rear view mirror. Looks out the front, records whatever's out the front. You run a thin little cable back to the back of the car. Little teeny camera on the back that records at the back. This one records the front camera, this one records the back. When you put it in reverse, it turns the whole screen in here into a reverse camera, and all you got to do is plug it in with a cigarette lighter. Easy as that. Let's see how long it takes me to install it in this convertible. So this is what you got. Just a rear view mirror thing. It goes over your rear view mirror. You won't even notice it. There's these little rubber straps, so they just hook on. Little silicone straps, to give you a couple of them. On the top here is where the power plugs in, the backup camera, everything else. So we'll just plug that stuff in because it's going to be tucked up in there, a little hard to reach. I mean, you can take this off at any point, but we'll plug that in. Just plug the camera in. Little spot for an SD card, probably around a 32 gig is good enough. I've run this exact same camera in my other vehicle with 128 gig, and it records for a long time. But then all we do is slide it over. We'll tuck all these wires up out of the way. We'll slide it over, and it's just like a rubber band. It stretches on there. Hook it on. Hook it on. Rear view mirror part is installed. I think there's a little lens over here. Yep. Beautiful. Now it's just a matter of tucking the wires up under the trim and down the side, and they even give you a nice little plastic nylon tool to pry up your stuff to help just tuck in these wires. So I'll just tuck these in out of the way. One goes to the back of the vehicle, the other one goes to the cigarette lighter. So I've done quite a few of these now with the wiring. The wiring you just tuck up under the headliner, bring it down the pillar. You can tuck it under the weather stripping like I have here, and then you have your power plug. And I usually just tuck that up under the dash and then just run it over, tuck it out of the way. And then your backup camera, you can do one of two things. You can then run it under the seal, all right here, or you can actually just drop it out from under the car or truck where it won't get pinched. I mean, the rubber from the door jamb won't bother it. You just do that, and then you can just run the wire for the camera all the way under the car, and that's easier in a lot of situations, or just run it under between the back seats and stuff like that. The wire for the power now comes in here, wraps back there, extra amounts coiled up there, comes along, hides under the glove box, and then just pops out of the plastic trim and over. I've also done it, I'm not going to do it in this video, but I've installed extra cigarette lighter plugs down here by the footwall, just pulling from over here, just so you can plug it in down there. But for this situation, I'm just going to plug it here because there's another cigarette lighter plug for the middle. But we're just going to now run the camera, and I haven't decided if I'm going to run it under the seal or if I'm going to run it under the car. I'll decide in a minute. Since this is a convertible, I decided not to install the wiring, run it through the inside, because there's so many mechanisms back here with the convertible that I didn't want it to get pinched. So I just ran it out, and it, the weather stripping, but it actually comes out into the inner wheel well, and now I'm just going to run the wiring underneath in the frame well, tucking it up and up through all the little holes. This wire is waterproof, so there's no problem. And then I'll just pop it onto the back bumper, and if I need to, put some zip ties or something on it. But we'll just run it underneath the frame all the way to the back and attach it up by the license plate underneath. This is the little camera. It's pretty straightforward. I could mount this, if you wanted to, in the back window of the car or something else. In this situation, I think it's going to work best right above the license plate, or maybe off to a side a little bit. And then you have, so the wiring I just ran all underneath, you have this one red wire that just needs to go to the reverse light. I was actually able to trace my wires, and I did not have to extend my reverse wire, so I was actually able to find the reverse wire. But you could tuck this in. I mean, the easiest way to find it is just by where the light bulb is. But this one I was able to find, so I can just tuck all this in. I didn't have to drill any holes. I was able to pass this through a little teeny hole in the rear bumper. And so now I can just plug this back in, and now everything's wired done. We can actually just test it out. see how everything works. So you can see the camera sits all unobstructed. They do give you some double-sided sticky tape so you could stick this to the actual, like the inside of your window in your car or something. And the camera can be mounted this way or this way. You can flip it in the app which way it views. But let's go inside and test it out. So it's kind of grainy because I'm recording a screen. It is almost pitch black outside, and you can see that it's picking up light pretty good, front and back. I cannot see as well as this can see outside. You see it's dark. So it has amazing sensors. If you don't know how the Dashcam works, what it does is it records little 3-minute clips and just stacks them up. So the larger your SD card, the more you can store. And then once it gets to a certain point, the oldest one just gets written over and just continues to do that unless you save that clip. You can lock it, so you can lock that clip, or if you set it up so like in impact, like if you hit somebody that it does it. Generally I find you record more potholes than anything else, but you can go through and change all those settings. But like I said, the screen can turn off when you want. Awesome thing. I ran it in my motorhome. I'll show you some clips here for nearly 48 hours straight. 12 hours a day for about 4 days, and no issues whatsoever. The reverse camera, awesome, an amazing feature just right there. Put it there. Come here, Ginger. What do you think? It's a little dark outside. Yeah, it is. You guys can't even see how dark it is. Let's see if the camera, there we go. So you see it just shuts off and just works like a regular rear view mirror after a minute. Or you can set it to stay on always, or you can push the button whenever you want it to go off, but it just automatically shuts off until you put it back in reverse. And then it kicks back on, and it'll stay on for about a minute. And I can put it back in park. I can switch the cameras and everything. But then it'll just go off, or if it's distracting me, I can just reach up there and hit that little button, wherever it is, right there. And it turns into a regular rear view mirror. Nice and blurry. It's a little dark outside. The camera's having trouble. So it's the next day, so you can see it just looks like a rear view mirror. It's shut off, after my programmed 1 minute time. We can turn it back on. But you can see the screen doesn't overwhelm. You can still see behind me, but if you really look, you can see the camera. So it actually it'll just shut off by itself. It records actually really well. So here we'll do some daytime footage. The camera's only as good as your wipers are. You can see in this scenario my wipers don't hit there's a little bit of distraction up in the left hand screen, but actually pretty good. Front camera does 1080p, back camera does 720p, which is way better than ones I've bought in the past. Not from this brand. I've brought a bunch of other Chinese brand ones, and every single one has let me down. But I've bought some Aukey brand ones like this one, and they've all been just like a step above. They're absolutely phenomenal. The rain's going to throw up quite a bit of debris. You see that Honda right there on my left? You're going to see it here on the reverse camera. So there he is on the far right. But it's blowing up quite a bit of just mist and dirty water, so the lens is going to be a little bit fogged up versus being a bright sunshiny day. But you can see this one, it's mounted under the bumper of the motorhome, so the top of the screen's kind of cut off. Now, bright sunshiny day, you can see something weird that Texans do, and that is pass on the shoulder. Never had anybody do this in any other state. Other than that, Texans are amazingly friendly drivers, but they passed 2 cars, not one, but 2 cars past me, and I'm behind somebody else going really slow. So, and a quarter mile ahead, sure enough, there's a passing lane, and then we all get a pass the slow GMC pulling bumper trailer. But kind of odd thing to see. So I guess we'll transition to a nighttime shot, and again, it's only as good as your wipers. And you can see the night, good visibility. You can see city lights out in the distance. You see a little bit of blue glare on my screen from a cell phone charger, but you can make out the semi really good. It's nice and clear. He's going to throw up quite a bit of debris in my face, but overall, I'm really impressed with it, with this Aukey brand. I have one dash camera that's going on, I think, 4 years old from them. Absolutely phenomenal. This one right here, at the time of videoing this, is about 75 bucks. I paid for it myself, and I've bought a couple now, and I'm replacing all the ones in my vehicle with this one. I like it so much. But I'll put all the details
long-term thoughts and everything down in the video description, so click there if you want links to this and any other details that I come up with.